What's up, everyone? Season ticket on air this rainy afternoon. Dan Hooley here, along with my good friend Scott Schroff.
Hello.
And Bernardo Sanchez.
Hello.
All right. This week we're going to start with some NBA talk. I can't form words again. This is becoming a problem. But we're going to start with the All-Star Weekend. Lots to talk about. We're going to start with the dunk contest. Poor old Aaron Gordon getting robbed.
Literally on the scene. Somebody came down from the stands and robbed him. I don't know how.
It was bad. You don't think it happened in Toronto. That's a predominantly white area. I don't know.
Yeah. And the racism shows. No, I'm kidding. Anyway.
We're not racist. Look, we got diversity going on.
Anyway, yeah, all right. Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon stole the show. Everyone forgot about Will Barton and Andre Drummond to begin with. They were kind of afterthoughts. You know, when it really comes down to it, Aaron Gordon should have won this game.
Yeah. Oh my God! This man, he dunked with a mascot on a hoverboard.
He kind of sat in midair. You kind of think about that. He leaped over a guy, sat in midair.
If you didn't watch the dunk contest, I would, and I've never thought that I would actually say this. Go and watch the dunk contest because in past years it's been really bad, but these guys have actually made the sport. Well, not made the sport. They made the whole sport interesting. No,
they made the sport. The sport would be nothing without that. Probably.
Yeah, I mean, they did a really good job. I'm happy about that.
Because honestly, let's be honest. If it wasn't for like all these great moves, what would basketball really be? Ooh, good fundamentals.
We
passed it to each other very well.
Yeah, it was a very interesting to watch.
Yeah, but
surprisingly.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a great effort by both of them, but I'm sorry, Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, I feel really
completely.
Aaron Gordon,
you could see it in his face once the game ended too.
He had a mascot on a hoverboard.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
And the timing to pick that up and then
he literally grabbed the ball, hung it around his balls, and then jumped up and dunked again. What the fuck?
And he didn't get a 50 on that one. Yeah. That was I didn't understand
this doesn't. It's.
I mean, look at
Zach LaVine, great.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah, I thought Zach LaVine did a great job, but really, Aaron Gordon did better. That's what I think. That's what a lot of people think.
I think. I think didn't Zach LaVine admitted that he did better, that he got robbed too.
Well, he just said, "Wow, yeah, both of us had great dunks that night."
Yeah, but he also admitted it. It was on a report that
he
also admitted that he also believed that Aaron Gordon got robbed.
Hey, I mean,
he'll take the win. He'll take the win.
Yeah, if you got the guy that's winning saying that the other guy should have won, maybe you messed up a little bit there, judges. So when
we're talking a little bit of 3-point contest, Klay Thompson winning, beating out Steph Curry. Very surprising to see.
Yeah, I don't know. Steph Curry won last year with 27 threes.
Oh yeah, we forgot to mention that Zach LaVine somehow winning it 2 years in a row.
Oh yeah, Zach LaVine 2 years in a row. That's
poor
really
old Aaron Gordon.
Yeah,
poor
Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, probably cried.
But the 3-point contest. Hello, person. Klay Thompson beating out Steph Curry. Steph Curry, probably the best 3-point shooter in the game right now. No, he is the best 3-point shooter in the game. They're not even close. I mean, if there's anyone close, it's Klay Thompson. That's what makes this scary because the Warriors,
Klay Thompson.
Anybody in that arena, anybody of the All-Star, any of those people. It's honestly ridiculous because they're watching these two guys and like, Jesus, we have to play these guys? They're going to destroy us.
They're just going up against
that's not even the full lineup. That's what they still have. Andre Iguodala still playing too.
Yeah, Draymond Green. They're ridiculous. The Warriors are ridiculous, and Klay Thompson is one of the most underrated players in the game. And a lot of people say he's overrated. I think he's underrated because when you look at it, he's got Steph Curry next to him, which is one of the biggest stars in the game right now.
These guys just shadow each other, you know?
Yeah, it's
you'll have the former, last year's MVP on your side, but,
Yeah, they're a fun team to watch. Coming in third place, actually, was Devin Booker, who's a rookie out of Kentucky, played with Karl Anthony Towns, who won the next competition. Or, actually, we're going in reverse order, so we won the previous competition. But Devin Booker, surprisingly, had a good showing. At first, he looked shaky, but I don't know. He's a good 3-point shooter. Had a good time in the what is it called? The Rising Stars game the night before. I don't know. There's a lot of good players in the league right now.
Moving on into the skills competition, Karl Anthony Towns winning. A lot of people saying he's a big dude. That's what won him over, beating out on Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, a lot of people said, well, this is a guards game, this is a small person's game because it involves a lot of dribbling, involves a lot of passing, and these are things that guards do, the smaller guys do. Not usually what a guy like Karl Anthony Towns, a big guy, would do. But Karl Anthony Towns is like, I'm an all-around complete player. probably going to be the Rookie of the Year this year, and he won the thing. Came down to him and Isaiah Thomas, which the height is ridiculous. Isaiah Thomas is probably barely 6 feet tall, and Towns is about 7 feet tall. So,
It just proves my theory that the NBA talent, they're just inhuman with their size.
they're
So, like,
big,
guys
big.
like fucking Porzingis, he's 7'3". This man's a monster. It's fucking
scary.
Frankenstein. It's not a human. Get away from me.
Well,
He said, if one of these guys approached me on the street, I would give them my wallet even before they said, like, here, just take it. Don't hurt me, please.
I wasn't going to... Porzingis, just take it.
Just take it, leave it to one of you big, scary Polish man.
All right, so we have the All-Star Game next.
Yep,
West
winning out 196 to 173. Russell Westbrook made the MVP with a 31-point, 8-rebound game.
Yeah, very good game for him, showing off a lot of dunks. Very high-scoring game because no defense is played pretty much like every All-Star game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Westbrook also winning the MVP 2 years in a row.
Yep.
So
2 years in a row.
I mean, we got him 2 years in a row. We got Zach LaVine 2 years in a row. Steph Curry.
It's like
Surprisingly,
there's
he
no
was
room for
going to be.
improvement, apparently. You know?
There are the best guys and then everybody else, pretty much. That's what it's looking like
It's
right
like
now.
the Patriots, man.
Yeah, just let that...
We're the best. You guys just fight for second place.
Yeah, that's
But-
how it works.
Basically.
All right, moving into some college basketball, something we really don't talk enough, but we're going to as soon as we get closer to March Madness, which we'll announce within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So expect a possible special episode. You know, keep that in mind for the 3 people that are actually watching this right now. But hey, on Valentine's Day, Michigan State player Denzel Valentine scored 30 points against Indiana on Valentine's Day. Like, I'll repeat that just for the sake. Guy named Valentine having a great game on Valentine's Day. It's
30 points, 13 assists. 13 assists. That's a lot, especially like a lot of people see that and go, wow, that's good for an NBA game. In college, they score less.
Yeah.
So that's
much less.
Yeah, so that's a big deal for him. And
yeah, because in college basketball, it's rare they even, a lot of times, they don't even break 100
yeah,
points.
exactly, because it's structured differently. They got two 20-minute halves. I don't know, it's interesting. And Denzel Valentine having a good Valentine's Day for the second year in a row. Last year, probably even bigger, hitting a game-winning shot, buzzer beater, on Valentine's Day against Ohio State.
Literally his day.
It's his day.
It's literally his day.
Meanwhile, I sat in my room and cried on Valentine's Day, but we don't talk about my love habits.
Yeah, Valentine's Day. This kid has a bright future.
I was just gonna.
definitely.
If any team that drafts him, any team that drafts him is just gonna be like, all right, so we got 1 day where he's at least we know he's gonna do good that one day.
Let's schedule all the games on February 14th.
Which is ironic because that's usually around when the All-Star break is. So I mean,
Jesus, better hope the dunk contest is something on Valentine's Day.
Right?
He's gonna clean up like you wouldn't believe.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that.
So, talking a little bit of baseball here. We're talking a little bit of baseball here. The Oakland Athletics traded reliever Bubba Derby. That's a great name.
Bubba Derby. I want to get to know Bubba Derby. Honestly, he sounds like a nice
catcher
Southern guy.
Jacob Nottingham in exchange for Chris Davis to the Milwaukee Brewers. Very big trade, actually. The most notable players coming out of this, obviously, Chris Davis. Last year hitting .244, 27 home runs, 66 RBIs, and a .323 OBP. And so he's a big player. You know, big name. Selling.
Chris Davis, when it comes down to it, and one guy said here that we can't hear us too well, so let's talk up a little bit.
Yes, let's fucking scream every word.
All right, now we good now?
All right,
good.
Well, when we get into it, Chris Davis, 27 home runs, a guy that can hit 30 home runs. Surprising that a guy like that gets traded. I know the Brewers are bad right now, but power is so hard to find in the game right now.
Exactly, and he is just a solid home run hitter.
Yeah, exactly. The RBIs aren't there because the Brewers were bad. Athletics are probably going to be bad, but they're trying to put out a better team than they did at least last year.
The Athletics, they really look like, because I would say they had a rough season last year. They lost a lot of big players. So I think now it's like part of that recovery stage. So I think the Davis signing is great step in the right direction.
Oh, yeah, they traded 2 guys. Last year, they got Nottingham in a deal for Scott Kazmir. He was originally with the Astros, so this is the second time he's being traded within, about 6 months. So that's something to look at. I don't know whether he's just a guy that's going to keep moving along the line. I don't know why. I don't get it. But Nottingham, apparently he projects to be a backup catcher. So
they said he apparently in the minors he put up good numbers, a 323 average before the Casimir trade, and reportedly a high on base percentage. Those are good numbers, things you always want to hear. And we got good old Bubba Derby.
Bubba Derby.
With a combined 1.21 ERA over 14 games in rookie ball. Which, he's kind of too young.
He's very young.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He's too young to really, project what he's going to be for the team.
But he's got good numbers, so,
I still think, honestly, it's going to be a few years before you can really see what kind of player he's going to be.
And knowing the Athletics and Billy Bean, this man might get traded 10 more times before...
They might just say, fuck it, you're going to Japan. We don't care.
We're trading you to Japan. Can you do that? I don't know. Not the point.
You're going to California. What team is out there? There's 4. Go to a team.
Just pick a team and we'll figure it out.
Talking a little bit of some hockey here. The Minnesota Wild, in the midst of a 12-game losing streak.
Oh,
that's bad.
Yeah, that's really bad. Yeah.
If anybody didn't know that, I don't care whether you like hockey or not, or anything about hockey, you lose 12 games in a row, that's bad.
They have fired their head coach, Mejia. He was 42 years old, posting a season record of 23, 22, and 10. Now, keep in mind, before this losing streak, the Minnesota Wild were 22 and 10 and favorites to make the playoffs. Now they've dropped to 6th place in the Central Division. It's not looking good for them.
Yeah, they had promise. But
they had a lot of promise.
Not leadership or anything else. Just promise.
Yeah, just promise.
While there are no notable players coming out of Minnesota right now, the fact is being that they were performing well. People always joke about fundamentals, but you don't always need a big player to succeed, especially in hockey. If you have a team that works together well, it can happen. But something I guess the administration sees it as a leadership issue, at least with the coach, that it's causing him to lose over 10 games in a row. Now that's obviously a serious cause for concern. So they're going to start from the top down, and we're going to fire the coach, get a new guy in. They're bringing in Don Torchetti, who was the former AHL coach in the Minnesota system.
Yeah, in Iowa, when he was back in Iowa.
Yeah, so they're going to see exactly what he could do for them. But, it's just one of those things. They're going to have to wait and see whether a change in coach may make a difference. It may not. They may continue to suck. Because that could just happen. Teams in any sport.
They have won 1 game since they fired him. So
1 win, and I'm pretty sure that was a solid few weeks ago.
They've only had 1 game since then. So they're on a 1-game winning streak. That's what matters. It's all Torchetti.
Got that 1 win.
It's like when the Dolphins fired their coach and then beat the Texans by 50 points in the first quarter. It was ridiculous. There was no reason for it, but they were like, you know what? We're just going to go off tonight.
Tonight. We're going to do it tonight.
You'll get the reference.
That reference is going to come up a lot more often than not. And we're going back to baseball for something that we missed and we really want to talk about. Henry Mejia, former reliever for the New York Mets, has been banned for life after his 3rd positive test result for performance-enhancing drugs. You're an asshole. You are an asshole.
You think after the first 2, you think he would learn his lesson? Okay, maybe that should do that. Maybe
you would think.
I should try something else.
It's mind-boggling. The second time he tested positive was 7 days after he was released, after his suspension. Yeah. Oh my lord! Oh my god!
So opening day he gets hurt, and then a few days later we find out, oh wow, he's banned for not banned. He got a suspension, and we're like, okay, maybe 1-time thing. I'll forgive anybody who wants Bartolo Colon, Marlon Berg, guys like that.
Yeah. Plenty of players have taken steroids and come back and had solid, upstanding careers. You make a mistake, it can happen. Speaking of mistakes, we're going to get into
baseball, but just in
sports. Because as we're going to learn with our next story, mistakes will happen.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But so now he serves his suspension. It was around the week of the 4th of July. I remember pretty correctly when he had come back, and it seemed he started off solid. You're thinking, maybe he was still a young guy, so you're thinking maybe he put it behind him. Yeah. He could just go back to relieving and do that stupid-ass stomp he does every time he saves a game.
I liked it.
Well, you didn't like it 7 days later when he tested positive.
Well, I still
again.
like the stomp. I don't have anything against the stomp.
I don't know. Is he stomp? Is that like what gets the juices flowing out of his ass crack after he shoots up? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but what I mean, how do you three times like? I saw the story. I picked up my phone. I saw the story. And I'm like, how stupid do you have to be?
It's honestly, in any sport. After the third time, even after the second time, even after the first time, you realize you're fucking up in life. You gotta stop.
Like, I'll give
after the second time, it's the moment of clarity if you're an alcoholic. And you're like, well, Jesus, I gotta change my life here. Yeah. And after the third time, I don't even know what to tell you. Obviously, you're just gonna...
It's like we're talking about John Manziel right now. I'm about to get into that.
It's like, after the third time, I don't even know what to tell you, because obviously you're gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, I don't...
wherever you end up. As if the stats matter at this point. Mejia in 2014 with a 3.65 ERA. Such a good ERA. He was such a good reliever. A 9-14 record with 28 saves and a world-class asshole. So, there's that.
Yeah. Oh my God, that man. I'll give anyone a second chance.
He had 3 chances.
The funny is
three
exactly
chances.
The 3 strikes and you're out rule.
Yeah, and a lot of writers specifically, and I'm going to come at you, writers, are saying that the Mets should be at fault for this, or not at fault, but they should be looked at as lesser for this. But I don't see that at all.
Because we're Mets fans, and we're not going to take that.
And I don't understand that, because why should the Mets have to... Sandy looked at it this way. The way that Sandy looked at this, he was like, okay, we can have a reliever with depth late in the season, like because he would have had to serve a suspension, he wouldn't come back until about August of this next year, but now he's banned, so irrelevant.
Yeah.
But... he figured, okay, we're going to have relief help down the line in case guys get hurt. You know what? We're only going to have to pay him a portion of his salary because he's suspended for all those games. So Sandy figured, all right, a cheap guy that they could bring in late in the season. It's like getting a trade late in the season for a good reliever. So Sandy, I mean, in my opinion, that's good. Like, oh, you want to show that you're a world-class organization, that you can't stand these steroid guys. Like, come on. You're going to go after the guys that are going to help your team.
You want to win. That's the bottom line.
And you
want to win.
You want to win.
And the Mets are a good team. They're going to be in the playoffs. They're going to have important games down that run.
And you know what? I've said this before. I had said this when it first happened. You know what? The league rule is 3 strikes and you're out. And there are guys in the major leagues that have been in trouble for steroid use on more than one occasion. So I don't see where the Mets should have suddenly jumped on a high horse and said,
get rid of him.
Get out of here, you know? But meanwhile, you have other teams with guys like Alex Rodriguez and fucking Barry Bonds towards the end of his career was still loved, even though they had a track record for steroids. But suddenly, the Mets are like this scum for hanging on to Mejia for some stupid reason.
Writers will come after you, especially the Mets, because apparently now that the Mets actually spent some money, the Wilpons spent some money, they got to criticize them in other ways for being cheap. They're not cheap anymore. Now they're just... assholes? I don't know.
It doesn't make sense, and I just, I don't like Henry Mejia. I didn't like him.
HGH, yeah. It wasn't HGH that Henry Mejia took. This time he got banned for benzenol or something.
Benzenol.
Benzenol, yeah. That's he got banned for that this time, and then the time before he was like the same thing, and then the first time it was just a bunch of. And the weird thing about it was that they're like old school steroids. They're like Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire steroids. They're not like the new stuff that like Alex Rodriguez. If you saw that 60 Minute where he had to like eat the pill and then do this and he was just doing it,
which made me question how desperate you. I know you're an aging player, but my God, man, people already hate you for these steroids. You're gonna go like. I would be going through, like, this is bullshit. I don't want to do this anymore.
Exactly. I don't know. Just Mejia, we'll see in about 2 years when you get your possible
2 years, he can apply for parole, I guess.
Yeah, but if Pete Rose isn't getting it, I don't think Mejia is.
Yeah, because Mejia sucks. So, the 7 line has officially pulled his shirt from the market. Nobody's missing him as far as the Mets organization goes.
Yeah, that's pretty much how that... That's pretty much how that
Nobody cares. Right, just move on.
No,
Nobody cares.
We gotta move on from Mejia.
You suck. I hope you enjoy watching from your couch.
And
wow, it's kind of harsh.
For our
if you cheat, come on.
Don't get me wrong, but like He's already lost.
Yeah, and for many of the
and he almost lost everything the first 2 times, and he still thought it was okay. So you know what? I lose my sympathy for him.
Two things. One, he might have not known what he's putting in his body, which
after the 3rd time.
Oh no! He definitely knew what he was doing.
I think maybe after the first time.
I don't know. Like the fact that it was so many times. Like, do you just not know? Like, do you not get it?
Okay, for him not to know, he literally has to be retarded.
The first time. Okay.
For him not to know.
I don't think he's retarded.
I don't think that either. I just think he did it on purpose.
But I still think, you know what, after the first time, I give him the benefit of the doubt. That can happen, you know. Yeah. You get hurt, you're taking some, you don't know, oh shit, this is a steroid in the 2-inch print they give you. When you actually read that thing, you don't want to take the pill anymore, but you have to because your body hurts, but hey.
Alright, one last thing, and we have to move on to our next story. He also can't play in a lot of the other leagues around the world. He can't play in the Korean League, can't go to Mexico and play, I believe. The only league that I think he's allowed to play in that doesn't honor MLB suspensions is like the Dominican Winter League, which he had been playing in, and he does play in because I believe he is Dominican. So looks like he can play every winter, but that's about it. If they even want him at this point, which I mean they probably do. But
and speaking of mistakes, we move on to our final story today, a story that is pending as the days have worn on since, I believe, like Sunday afternoon is when the story
pretty much know everything.
Yeah, and now the story has continued to develop and generally gotten worse. Peyton Manning reports are coming in, apparently court documents, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's court documents. Yeah, because
court
he did
documents
go to court
of where he apparently sexually harassed a trainer while at the University of Tennessee. While playing football there. It was a female trainer. He allegedly put his balls on her face.
Bernardo has the details.
Yeah, and then after he did that, apparently he blamed it on one of his black teammates.
Oh boy!
And her side of the story, on her side of the story, it just amazes me. It's Peyton Manning.
You wouldn't think that.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I don't want to believe that.
Like, if you heard of Johnny Manziel doing this, I'm like, you sure he didn't do any more?
See, that's the thing, and that's just something I want to talk about.
I'm not saying Johnny Manziel's I don't want to say he's somebody that sexually assaults people, but he's just a sketchy character.
Yeah, sketchy character.
But something I want to talk about, especially with this story, as many people are saying that people have gone as far as citing racism. I don't think it's that. No. I think this is a case of reputation, because for all these years we have looked at Peyton Manning as kind of like the role model. Like, I know you're not really supposed to look at sports players as role models.
Yeah,
you're supposed to look at people who actually better the world. No offense, I love sports, but they don't.
Work.
Well, they do. Those are the guys you can look up to, but as a whole,
Manning probably does. I don't know.
I don't know his. There's a hospital in his name in Indiana.
Is there really?
But nonetheless, you know, people did look up to him because he was always a very professional, very moral guy. But now you see this, and you're like, what the hell, really?
Yeah.
Like, you have...
It just gave my mind a 360 when I saw this story. But what you have to understand with this story is everything about this story is hearsay.
Yeah, exactly.
Completely.
This is,
there is no hard evidence.
This is from her side of the story.
It is court documents. You know, it is coming a lot from what she's saying. Now, I don't mean to say that, like, it's the old, like, guy in the football team story where we're all going to say he's good because he's on the team, and we're going to call to question her morals. I don't believe that.
No.
I think...
You got to give him equal chance.
I think sexual harassment is disgusting, you know, on a level like this. So, honestly, I want to look at this as neutral as possible, but it is really tough to say whether he did this or not if it's only based on one person's opinion.
Now, what really...
Well, not opinion, but story.
And he has... like, admitted to it. Like, he admit that something happened.
He used to admit that it was to her intentionally. He said he was going to moon another player, and you know, it's football. You know, guys in the locker room, like people, like, it's understandable. You know, it happens all the time. I mean, but the person that he said did that to denies the statement from Peyton. So it doesn't look good for Peyton at this point.
I don't understand. Just,
you know, the things continue to pile up for the Manning family, especially in Archie Manning's biography, in which he apparently talks shit a lot about this female.
Because I'm not sure if it's Archie Manning's biography, but I know it's a book about one of the Mannings. It's something along those lines. Where
Peyton Manning wrote a book.
I'm sorry.
Describes his biography and things he's going through.
Yeah,
and
the way he describes her
as a potty mouth.
Yeah, Eli Manning versus Peyton.
As a player, I don't think so morally. Now that we hear
maybe.
maybe.
I don't know, but I feel like there's, to me, and this doesn't justify the story at all. I feel like that there's a story like this about anybody, about everybody in the game.
Oh, yeah.
Not to this extreme, because clearly this is an extreme.
Yeah,
but
there's
an incriminating, not necessarily criminal, but there's a bad story about everyone in the game, and so you have to take everything with a grain of salt. Well, this is obviously.
But
at
the same time, they're not above everything. They're still normal people. They just have a lot of money.
See, that's another thing. People believe that stars should be held to a higher standard. They're not. They're human beings. They follow laws. And
yeah, of course.
If this is enough to go to trial and therefore be convicted of
he went to trial. He got. Not really convicted. It was a weird kind of deal.
Probably a cash settlement to keep her silent. Not necessarily paying her off, but they gave her money. I guess as some sort of repercussion. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but you get torn because any time there's a story or a case or anything like that where it's just people talking on both sides, there's no hard. If there was a video of him doing it.
Yeah, exactly. It was like with Ray Rice, we had a surveillance video of him knocking out his girlfriend.
Greg Hardy.
So there was
pictures.
There was no room for debate of whether or not this happened. Well, maybe the context was debatable, but the fact was he knocked her the fuck out. But now, Peyton Manning, you have one person telling a story of an incident that only happened between two people, and obviously the other person in the story is going to deny it.
Yeah.
So now you just look at things like this. And especially with Peyton Manning, I like Peyton Manning, even though, I obviously as a Giants fan, I liked his brother a whole lot more, but I like Peyton Manning. I always saw him as a professional, seemed like a pretty moral guy. I can't speak of his outside life, obviously.
And also, we're talking about 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's another thing.
So even if it did happen, he's definitely matured.
That's something else I want to say. We've all screwed up in our lives. I don't care who you are. You could claim you were Mother Teresa. We've all done something immoral in our lives. It's what makes us human. Now, I'm in no way justifying or lessening this. Like I said, sexual harassment's a disgusting thing to do, especially somebody you don't know, and it's just somebody who's helping you for their job. That's terrible. But I don't think Peyton Manning's like this evil rapist that some people are making him out to be.
Yeah, a lot of, there are a lot of stories about a lot of quarterbacks in general. Like, you got Ben Roethlisberger, you got that story. You got Mark Sanchez was even...
Michael Vick with the dogs.
Michael Vick with the dog was a whole nother deal.
Yeah, but things he matured since then. He's been doing a lot of foundations to help dogs and everything like that. So yeah, he was. They all made mistakes, but things they all rise above them and learn from it. And
they moved on.
Yeah, moved on.
And once again, this is still a developing story. Yeah. So we're going to see how this plays out.
It's not really a developing story. It just never really. It never came out.
Yeah, never really.
It never came. Like, people just kind of swept it under the rug because it was Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
I guess, and that's what they're saying the whole racism thing is about. And if you read the article by the guy in the New York Daily News, I believe, the article seems very biased, which I don't like to read biased articles in any direction, even if I agree with the bias.
That's very surprising to see to come from a news source like the Daily News.
Yes, we can see the chat. We have a two thing going.
We have a thing going on.
We're good.
Dude, feminism is not a mistake. That's a debate we're not waiting in. This is a fucking sports channel, all right? We're talking sports, man. All right, we are down to our final minute on Spreaker. So
everybody on Periscope right now that's watching,
you'll be watching our after show a little bit.
Yeah.
But to let you guys know, I will not be in for the Thursday show. That will be our NBA special because I am getting knee surgery. So, I hope you guys, these two morons, will entertain you for that time.
And we will also be bringing on a special guest.
I will be back come Monday afternoon. But until then, see you in the cheap seats.